Well, hey everybody, I'm the Crockett Coon'er, and this is the Crockett Coonhound Show. And for everybody that follows me that are gardeners, I've got a project coming this spring and summer, guys, and that's going to be a potato growing. Now, for everybody that has followed me here at the Crockett Coonhound Show for years now, myself and Scooter's been doing this for a long time. You guys know that we're all about the outdoors, and mainly priority is like coonhounds. We talk a little politics and things, but each year, guys, I have a garden and I grow a garden, and I kind of have a special project. And this is one that I've been wanting to get back to. Now, guys, in times past, I have tried to grow potatoes. That's what I've got in these bags, and I'll get into that in a second. I've tried to put them directly into the garden. Didn't work. They either had some type of a fungus, there was too much increased rainfall here in southern Middle Tennessee. Growing season changed just ever so slightly, or the old cooner here put them at the wrong spot in the garden to where actually water was pooling a bit. It would cause them to basically rot in the ground or not form. I've also tried in times past, guys, taking tires, and I mean, this was many years ago, so it's folks that's followed us from the beginning. I tried putting rocks in the bottom of the tires, putting pot and soil and things in it, soil from the garden to grow them. They grew a little. All it took, though, was a couple of good solid, basically weeks of rain there. Junk. Wasn't even worth my time, guys. And I also tried another time just growing them in buckets. I tried that many years ago where you could separate the buckets, even put those underneath the back patio, and they just didn't make up for me. Now, I believe that might have been to do with soil content, but this year, guys, for everybody that's followed us, this is actually my old composter. Now, the compost that's in it, I didn't make this batch, guys. The original compost, and I had about double this much in there, came from here around the homestead. It's everything I got out of the chicken coops, the leaves and things throughout the year, what we could use. And I came out here because I was going to make you guys this video and start this little project, and I stirred around a bit. The composter, for folks that follow me, was a bit more further back, and we had fire ants. And I thought, oh, we can't have that where we're growing vegetables. So I got some granules and I took care of them. But I didn't want to grow anything in that particular compost, so I reused it around some of the flowers out front. The fire ants went away. I even dusted where they were on the ground. But now, what I have deduced, guys, is it was soil content and too much increased rainfall is what was hurting our potatoes. And I thought, how can I get around that? So what I've done, guys, is I have picked up just some regular compost and manure that you can buy at any of your local box stores. It wasn't much. I believe about $4 a bag. I believe there's about 4 20-pound bags in here. I have taken the wire from our old composter. Of course, the wooden sticks that were in it were rotted. I've got to thank my drone guys. One of them, John, one of our drone guys, had some metal fence posts just laying around. He gave them to me, drove them in the ground. And here's my plan, folks. I have got seeded potatoes in this bag. Now, I'll insert you guys a pic right there to kind of show you what we're looking at. And we have actually full-size baking potatoes and red potatoes. Now, I'm going to tell you a little bit about what my plan here is. I have seen tons of people that once you cut a potato, because each little eye on the potato that sprouts out can possibly make its own potato plant and grow potatoes below it. What you do is you get seeded potatoes. If you don't know what that is, they're not sprayed with any chemicals or anything. They're just basically to regrow potatoes at home. That is what I picked up at one of our local gardening stores here. I brought them right in. I found some that already had some small eyes that had developed on them. I trimmed them. I put them in paper bags in the dry, in the dark, for about 48 hours, guys. I've let them dry out, so the bottom of them are actually where they've been cut is more like a scabbed over spot, I should say. I have seen people take these in times past and take a little container of just dried concrete, the dusty part of it, and I've seen them dip it into the concrete and things to basically make a scab so nothing comes up to the bottom of the potato and hurts it. But my plan, guys, is to do nothing more than basically draw an imaginary line, put some red potatoes on one side that are really seeded, some baking potatoes on this side. So I'm not going to be too invested in this particular grow. I'm going to see if this is going to work. I'm going to take some straw, I'm going to cover this up, and depending on the weather, if it needs a little water, of course I will add some. If not, if it rains and it's enough, that should be good. But the benefits from what I have found by this is if I have birds and things, I can always get another piece of this carpenter's cloth mesh, put over it, keep other animals out, because that's one thing that I had a problem with. You guys that follow me that know that I garden and things, I use a lot of plastic in my garden as a weed barrier. And one particular year, I guess it's about 5 years ago now, guys, when we tried a project like this in the garden, I actually had field mice get underneath the plastic and literally get down and eat the potatoes. So growing them in an elevated bed like this, hopefully made from carpenter's cloth mesh and put together good, will keep any type of animal out of it, maybe even some of the bugs, maybe. And I have the ability to cover it, not to mention any type of rainfall that we get will dampen the potatoes while they're growing, but will also let it drain out through the mesh so they don't just basically sit in water from increased rainfall and cause them to rot in the ground or mold and turn green. And also, the other benefit to this, guys, is if you've ever dug potatoes, it can be a bit of a challenge. And in this particular instance, when they're done, we see the top of the plant, we think they're all finished. I can open up the screen and access them pretty easy. So I'm going to get on with this, guys. I'm going to show you what I did, and we're going to get these in our grower here in our elevated bed, put some straw on them, and then we wait. Now, I know you can't see me. Like I said, I'm going to put an imaginary line. We're going to start off, let me set everything down here, guys, with the baking potatoes I put in the bag. Now, I'm going to get up here and show you. You can see these are already starting to form eyes. And like I said, you can look at the back there and tell that they're a bit dry. And that's because I have left them in brown paper bags, rolled up and in the dark for a few days. I'm going to do nothing more, guys, than literally just kind of work these into the compost just a bit, ever so slightly. And I'm going to go through this bag. Actually, when I bought these, they sold them by pounds. Now you can see right there, we have some more developed eyes and things. I'm just going to ever so slightly space these out. And basically the seeded potatoes that I got, guys, were already starting to really show eyes while they were there for sale. And what I've done is I cut what I thought was good, but you see here, this doesn't appear to have made an eye. I'm just going to skip that one. Anything that looks like it didn't really form an eye good, guys, I'm not even going to worry about planting it, because like I said, now these are pretty good. We're going to see if this actually is going to work or not, folks. I don't know. I'm afraid it may get too dry, guys, is my concern, to see if this is actually going to work or not. So I hope it does. I mean, let's face it, who doesn't like a good homegrown potato? And here in the South, we use those for barbecue and all kinds of things. Let's see. Looks like that apparently has gotten some mold on it there a little bit, guys, and we definitely don't want that in there. Now that's starting to really seem to form somewhat of an eye. Let me look right here and see. It looks like we have just a few more. Oh, That one right there appears to have made a little something, and that one's very small, but I believe it's also an eye, guys. Now I'm going to swap potatoes, guys. We're going to go to the other side, and we're going to try just some red potatoes. Now, I don't know, to be honest with you folks, because I'm new to this one. Much like you guys, let's look in here and see what I can find. Much like you folks, I don't know if it's going to be really a great idea to grow these together or not, but we're going to try some reds on this side. And it's just kind of an experiment this year. I'm not actually, folks, I'm not, well, that one's pretty decent, I guess, even expecting big results from this, just to be honest with you folks. I'm not, that one's starting to sprout really well. I don't know if this is actually even going to work. You would think it should, but like I said, this is just a bit of an experiment, folks. I'm going to get this done, guys, and I'm going to get right back with you, and we'll cover this with some straw. Well, folks, I wanted to stop right here because I forgot to mention something. Now, you can see right there, I have the potatoes in the planter. Now, guys, let me tell you right off the bat, I have already put too many sprouted potatoes in this particular planter, but I did it on purpose, guys, because I still don't know if this is going to work in my area. We're going to have to wait and see. But if it does in fact work, I will later on build other planters and spread things out. I'll only put 2 or 3 pieces per planter to give the potatoes more room to grow. But I also needed to add, anytime you cut seeded potatoes like this, guys, you always put the cut side down into the dirt and you leave the sprouts facing upward toward the sunlight. A lot of folks don't know to do that. They try to plant them the other way, and they're, well, planting them upside down. Well, folks, that's it. You saw me there put a little straw in. Now, I did get the straw from the edges of the chicken coops because it won't be much longer here in southern Middle Tennessee. It'll be so warm. I won't really have to keep straw around any of the livestock. But tell you guys once again, we've got about 18 inches of compost and manure, cattle manure in there. We've got about 1 inch of straw that was semi-damp when I put it on. To the left, we have baking potatoes that were seeded potatoes. And to the right, we have red potatoes that were also seeded potatoes that I cut 48 hours ago, put them in a bag, let them dry, let them scab over, took the best looking ones that did actually start to form potato plants out of their eyes. They started to sprout, put them in here. You guys saw the picture. And now we wait, folks. I hope this is going to work. I've had more problems with trying to just grow potatoes, which are usually pretty simple to grow. But if it was not increased rainfall, which I think we have that fixed with a carpenter's cloth, it was, some type of wild animal, be that field mice, be that birds, it was anything, or even possibly a squirrel. I'm not sure. I think they kind of dug down a little bit and got to them. But hopefully all that has been eliminated with this. And if this project does work this summer, I'm going to keep you guys updated. If it does, I believe this is how the old Coon'er here is going to grow potatoes from now. But anyways, guys, that's it for today. Just a little small project for this summer here in 2025 with our potato grow. But I say it all the time, guys. Stay safe on the water. Stay safe in the woods. And stay tuned here to the old Crockett Coon'er and Scooter. And we will have you folks another video dropping shortly. You guys have a great day.